Hello everybody and welcome to the channel Out of Ammo Out of Time. I'm your host as always, Krabby Terror 8, and here we are in episode 46 of season 2 of the Investigator Games. Yes, episode 46, which means we are one away from finishing season 2. Can you believe it? Yes, it's taken a while, but we are nearly there. And here we are in episode 46 with everybody's favorite mystic, martial artist and warden chosen, Lily Chen. Yes, and for those of you who are new to the Investigator Games, welcome. Yes, what is the Investigator Games? Well, I think most of the people who listen to this already know, but for those who are new, the Investigator Games, like the Hunger Games, we take each investigator true solo through a scenario and we see how they go. And in season 1, that was the Gathering. And then we took their carryover points from the Gathering and we're now in the Midnight Masks. And depending on how they go, they end up in a league table like this one. Yes, actually not like this one. This is the league official Investigator Games league table. And the ones at the top after season 3 will be showered in glory, and the ones at the bottom will hang their heads in shame. Yes, now everybody also starts with a standard starter deck. They used to be put out by FFG, but now we set them up ourselves, which are basically you have to start with the base set of cards and the campaign set, which is what you're from. So in Lily's case, that's the base set and the Edge of the Earth. That's what you start with anyway. Now we can see Lily Chen. First of all, we can see, before we talk about Lily, we can see at the top of the table, we have Roland up there. Monterey Jack is up there. Ashcan Pete's up there. We've got those investigators up the top. Down the bottom, of course, we have poor old Calvin and poor old Lily Chen. She had a shocker of a gathering. It was just awful. Things just went from bad to worse. She ended up with a mental trauma. The Ghoul Priest is actually in the deck here. She didn't get Leader Chandler. Just everything went wrong, and she ended up with a measly 3 XP to deal with. So yes, had a real shocker. So I did speak to her in the green room. She's just standing there actually outside the house as we speak, doing sort of exercises, stretches and various moves. Yes, I did speak to her in the green room. She's not a person to say very much, but she was pretty disappointed with the way that she went in the gathering, and she is hoping to improve her standing and general status within the Investigator Games community by doing much better in the Midnight Masks. And I certainly wish her well. She certainly deserves to be a lot higher than she actually is. Now, because she only had 3 XP to play with, so what we're going to do is we will look at that in a second. We'll just go through her card and her abilities, and then we will look at how we've upgraded things. If you want a more detailed view of how she did, then I would look at her gathering video. Yes, and I would encourage you to everybody to watch those first before the Midnight Masks. Also, spoilers, if you are new to the game or you've never played the Midnight Masks, I would recommend that you play first. I'm assuming you know this scenario a little bit, that you've played at least a little bit. Also a shout out to my in-depth video on the Midnight Masks, everything you could possibly ever want to know about this scenario, the lore, the story, strategy, everything is in that video, and you can find that on this channel. So yes, let's have a look at Lily Chen. So, yes, she is a mystic from the edge of the earth. Obviously, martial artist. She, if we look at her stat line, it's reasonably balanced. She's a bit lowish on intellect, but she's got a 3 willpower and a 3 agility, and then a 4 fight and a 2 intellect. So, yeah, not bad. I mean, she's pretty good at fighting, obviously. She's pretty reasonable at evading, and she's pretty reasonable at dealing not only with the encounter deck, but also for spells. She's got an okay willpower, but so she's like a sort of fighter mystic, if you like, in that way. So, but if you are going to lean into spells, you're going to want to boost that willpower to really make that work in that way. So yeah, not a bad stat line. If you're playing true solo, though, a 2 intellect is really going to hold you back. So she's probably going to be a less popular true solo investigator because of that. Unless you're able to obviously shore that up. If you use spells like Sixth Sense, for example, is one, then you're going to be okay. But the only issue there is that your willpower is, lowish. So, you just got to be able to sort of manage that. Okay, so yeah, that's just a stat line. Now, if we look at her ability, you begin the game with a discipline in your deck, 4 different disciplines, and at the beginning, you choose one of those disciplines. So each of them gives you a boost to one of your stats. So you can choose one of those, and it really depends on what you want to do with Lily, which one you would choose. So you can lean into fight, or if you want, you can lean into agility if you want to balance that out. I would imagine if you want to have more spells and be more of a sort of mystic, then you would lean into the willpower. In this case, I've lent into the intellect. It's really just for pragmatic reasons. If you're true solo, doing anything with 2 intellect is pretty hard. So it really is about boosting that intellect up to 3 rather than 2. And so that's what I've chosen in this case. If your elder sign effect is a +2, and if this test ends flip a broken discipline, you control to its unbroken side. So each of these disciplines has an ability that you can then break it. So for example, with this one, if you have fewer than 5 cards in your hand, you can draw cards until there are 5 in your hand, and then you flip the asset over. So in this case, if you flip it over, you lose that boost to your intellect. But you can flip it back through the elder sign effect, or after the round ends, if your hand did not have 2 or more cards in it at any point this round, you can flip it back over. So it's a way of sort of managing that. So this is sort of this essential. You can trade off the skill increase in that way, and each of these disciplines has a different ability and special ability in that way. So there you go. That's the effect. It's quite an interesting effect, quite a nice effect to have that permanent stat boost. It gives us some flexibility depending on how you want to play Lily, so that's great. And also in terms of strength, mental and physical strength, pretty good, 7 each. So that's really good. I've been preparing to confront this evil my entire life. My focus must be absolute. Now, if we flip the card over and just have a look at the details on the back, standard deck size. Now, Lily Chen, like the others here, is you can take Mystic cards level 0 and Guardian cards level 1 to 5. Neutral cards not 5, and then 5 other Guardian cards level 0. So what happens is you start off with sort of more mystic oriented cards, and then as Lily goes, increases in experience, increasingly becomes a Guardian. So much more in that fighting space. So mystic cards, stay at level 0. So really, she really is a sort of fighting. She's a fighter that has some access to some of those mystic cards. So, for example, if you are using her true solo, you'd probably, have things like Sixth Sense or whatever it might be to sort of help you out there. So, and then you just increase your fight ability, and there's some nice Guardian cards as well around martial arts. Things like the butterfly swords. So there's things like the butterfly swords, toe-to-toe. There's a whole lot of... so there's some overlap with some of the cards that came with the Nathaniel Cho Investigator deck, which work really well with Lily as well. So, yep, she can't use firearm assets, so they're not allowed, which makes sense. She's a martial artist. And as I said, at deck creation, choose a discipline asset, add it to your deck. And for every 15 experience you've earned, you may add a different discipline asset to your deck. You also add in some burdens of destiny for each one as well. And we'll have a look at those in a second. But essentially, you build up so you end up with more and more of these. They give you those stat boosts. Chen Li speaks rarely. When she does, her words are measured and wise. After a lifetime of disciplined training, every gesture is graceful, uncluttered by hesitation. The monks who raised her said she was born for a special purpose, to face a great evil. Now they believe that evil is at hand, and she's the only one who can stop it. So there you go. Fantastic. So yes, so as I said, I'm not going to go through all the cards in her deck, just the ones we upgraded. So basically we had 3 experience, which means there's not a lot that we could do with that. So a couple of things that we did is that we took out a scrying, because scrying's nice to have, but it's not essential. I also took out the meditative trance. Again, interesting card, can give you, intellect or willpower boost, but again, not essential. And I replaced those with 2 evidence for obvious reasons. The XP1 version of evidence: if you defeat an enemy, you discover a clue at your location, or even 2 clues if they're, and so that just allows us to get some free clues if we're fighting something, which we probably will be. And then the other one was I just put in an Ace of Swords. And an Ace of Swords, if the game begins, if it's in your hand, put it into play, and that gives us a fight boost. So that puts us in a really good position if we can get that into our hand at the beginning. So those were the only changes that I made. So hopefully we won't have too much trouble getting clues. I mean, we do have the flashlight in there. We've got evidence. We've got drawn to the flame. We've got perception. So we've got quite a few ways to get clues. So I'm hoping that we won't have too much trouble with that. And we should be able to fight our way through. And we should hopefully do reasonably well. So there we go. Those were the only changes. Don't know what you think about that, but I didn't have a lot to play with for this one. So we will see how we go. So yes, as I said, I just spoke to Lily. She's just here at the house. We're just waiting for the horn to go off. But before we do, let's just read out the agenda and the act deck. So predator or prey. Lita seems convinced of a conspiracy within the city of Arkham. She believes that a secret cult serves the ghouls that live in the crypts beneath the city, and that several of the cult's prominent members are scattered throughout Arkham. As you begin searching for them, you can't shake the feeling that you too are being hunted. Action and resign. You don't want to risk taking too long. And uncovering the conspiracy. You have 1 night to find the members of this cult and unveil their plan. The more members of the cult you can find and interrogate before midnight, the better. Investigators spend 2 clues as a group to draw the top card of the cultist deck. Find as many unique cultist enemies as you can and add them to the victory display. If there are 6 unique cultist enemies in the victory display, advance. Note, not all 6 of them are in the cultist deck. Hint, hint. There we are. We are also up in Octagon, ready to... Oh, and there it goes. There goes the horn. Lily bows to the crowd. does a backflip, and wow, crowd goes wild. And we are ready to go in episode 46 of the Investigator Games. Okay, so what do we want? What do we want? What do we want? Well, we definitely want to get that Ace of Swords. If we can get that in, that would be great. I want to get my Dragon Pole. I'd rather use that rather than the Enchanted Blade. And the Shriveling's good as well. Yeah, and the Holy Rosary would be good to have down so that we're boosting our willpower. So let's see how we go. Let's just draw many. Let's draw 5. Let's see how we go. What do we get? Okay. Well, no weapons in this at all, so that's not good. I'm going to throw all of these in. I really need a weapon, and I mean, all of these are interesting cards, of course, but I want to... So I'm going to draw many again. I'm going to draw 5. Let's see what we get. Oh, we can't have that one. That's our... Didn't talk about this is our weakness. If you draw this, normally you have to flip a discipline you control to its broken side and take a damage and horror. So yeah, it just works with the permanent there. Okay, so there we go. So no, even though we've got 6, we've got 6 effects. Oh no, we got Shriveling. That's true. No, you're all saying, but we've got Shriveling. So we got Shriveling, okay? But we didn't get any of our actual weapons, which is really unfortunate. We got Drawn to the Flame, which is good. Evidence good. So there's, in fact, we've got lots of things for getting clues. We've got Vicious Blow, which is good. You know, really, if we've got a, we've got something else out. So yeah, let's see how we go. Hopefully we'll draw into one of our, either the Enchanted Blade or hopefully the Dragon Pole. But we shall see. We shall see. Okay, let me move Lily over here a bit more into the center. We'll leave the permanent over here. We know what it is, just to remind us about that. Okay, not the world's greatest draw to start with, but that's all right. So what do we do first? Well, I think our first action is I'm going to spend 3. I'm going to bring out Shriveling. So at least we've got something that if we need to fight, we've got something that we can fight with. That's a good start, I think. Second action, let's avail ourselves of the facilities and let's draw a card and gain a resource. So we draw a flashlight and we gain a resource. Okay, lots and lots. This is not what I expected, to have lots and lots of ways to to actually investigate. Final action is let's get this clue. Now we are running at a 3 versus 2, a 1 up. I think I'm going to throw in Perception here and make that a 5 versus a 2. Let's see what the Chaos Bag has. And the And the Chaos Bag has a -1, so we succeed. We draw a card. We draw into Unexpected Courage. That's great. And we get a clue. There we go. So we're not messing around here. We don't, you know, if Lily's going to do well in this, she needs to move fast. So I think that's a pretty good start. We got ourselves out the Shriveling. We availed ourselves of the facilities and drew a card. We got the flashlight, and we got obviously a some money. And then final action, we use Perception to get the clue. So next time we can get up to Rivertown and get the second clue and start bringing out some cultists. So pretty good. So there we go. Let's see how we go. I just wish we had more weaponry. That's all. That was the investigation phase. So let's move into the enemy phase, or yes, the enema phase, as I call it. No enemies or enemas to speak of. So we move into upkeep, and there it is, the Enchanted Blade. Well, there you go. That's pretty good. So that's better than nothing. That's good. So I mean, the thing is, it's good for some actions, and we can decide whether we want to use the charges. So you get +1 for your attack, and you can spend a charge and you can get another +1/+1 damage if you want. But if you're just taking on your standard acolytes, you can just use it as is. So that's not bad. Okay, so that's the end of the upkeep phase. So we move into the Mythos phase. The first Doom is down. Let's see what the encounter deck has, and it has a Wings of Darkness, which actually, ironically, is kind of helpful because this could get us to Rivertown super fast. So it's a test of 4. We're a 3. Now, I could normally throw in Unexpected Courage, but you know what? I'm not going to, because I actually don't mind failing this. You know, yes, we take a damage and horror, but it means that we get essentially a free action and we can move to Rivertown. So let's see what the Chaos Bag has. Chaos Bag, it gives us a -1, so we do fail. We move to Rivertown. Doink. We take a damage and a horror. There we go. So yes, we're taking a bit of damage and horror, but you know, that speeds things up. So that's not bad. Okay, so not bad, not bad. Let's move into the investigation phase. 3 actions onto Lily. And what are we going to do here? So first thing is let's bring out the Enchanted Blade. Okay, so we'll bring out the Enchanted Blade. I want to make sure that we've got that, so that's good. So we've now got plenty of weaponry, plenty of ways to deal with things. It'd be really nice to get the Holy Rosary, because then we would be running at a slightly higher willpower. So let's see how we go. Second action, let's investigate 1 versus a 3. I just think we just do that straight up. 1 versus a 3. Chaos Bag gives us a 0. So we succeed. We get the other clue. And I think it's pretty obvious what we do for our third action. For our third action, we throw in the clues. And we see who we get. Let's shuffle them up. Who do we get? Herman Collins. Well, 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 there he is, right there. Okay. Except throwing in all our cards at this time is not ideal. That's for sure. So we might leave good old Herman for later, because we don't want to be throwing in all these cards at the moment. So, yeah, but anyway, there we go. I mean, we could fight Herman, of course. It would take us a couple of actions and a couple of. The problem is, we would shrivel, but he's a 3, or we would fight. Yeah, but the problem with that is we're using up all our fights and things, and we really need to keep those for when the Mars Hunter arrives. So let's keep Herman on ice for now and just keep bringing out some more. So we move into the enemy phase. There's just Herman Collins, who's just chilling in the graveyard, not doing anything. So we move into upkeep and get a Guts. Well, that's good. That's a good card to go with Shriveling, of course. It means that we can get that boost if we need to. So all pretty good. Yeah. So let's move into the Mythos phase. 2 Doom are down. Let's see what the encounter deck has. Hunting Shadow. You must either spend a clue or take 2 damage. Well, we can't spend a clue, so we have to take 2 damage. Ouch. Wow. Okay. Taking a lot of damage this time. We're already, yeah, so that's a little bit of a problem. Anyway, nothing we can do about that. Let's move into the investigation phase. 3 actions onto Lily. So, as I said, what can we do? We could move into the graveyard. We could throw away 4 cards. I guess we could do that, but I don't really want to do that at the moment. I'm kind of happy with the cards that I've got. So, I think what we do is something a little bit different. I feel confident-ish with what we've got. Yes. So I think what we do is we move to Miskatonic University, flip that over, and then for our second action, I'm actually going to play Drawn to the Flame. Yeah, draw the top card of the encounter deck and then discover 2 clues, because this is a 4 shroud location. So we could bring out the flashlight, we could do that, but let's use that because it's worth a victory point. Let's get it done early. So let's draw the top card of the encounter deck. Oh, another hunting shadow. Oh, wow. Is that right? Yeah, and we did shuffle. Wow, that's another 2 damage. Oh my goodness. I think there's another one in the deck. If we get another one, we're gone. Wow, okay. There we go. But anyway, we get these 2 clues, which means we get the victory point here. Crowd goes wild. Yeah, wow, okay. Now I wish we had our ally with us. The I can't remember what the ally's called now. The Mystic ally, Arcane Initiate. Just to soak up something. I think you can soak up some damage with her. Oof. Okay. Anyway, with our final action, let's throw in the 2 clues. Actually, do we do that? Hold on. If we get, because we could get Peter Warren, and that means we would take a damage from him, I'm pretty sure. Or we... Just wondering what the best thing to do is. We could draw a card. We could take a resource. Maybe we should draw a card because then we've got more cards. Let's draw a card for our final action, and we get our weakness. Okay, so this basic weakness is you can get rid of it as if it were a single point of horror on you. So if horror is healed, then you discard it. After you take a play action, so that is playing an asset. Skill cards are not, they're committed, but playing an asset or an event, you can only do that a single time. You engage or resource action. So it's not the end of the world, to be honest. We'll just leave it here and just try and remember that we can only do those things once. So play, engage, or a resource action. Okay. Well, we've got it out of the way at least, so that's something. So there we go. That was a very action-packed round. So we started in Rivertown. We moved to Miskatonic University. We then used Drawn to the Flame, which got us 2 clues and a victory point. And then we drew a card, but we drew into our weakness. So there we go. So we will move into the enemy phase. Nothing is happening with the enemy. So we will move into upkeep and we get the Holy Rosary. That's great. That's going to make a difference. So we'll get that on board. Mythos phase, there are now 3 Doom down. Let's see what the encounter deck has. And it's got a Skewering Fog attached to your location. I'm glad we got rid of those clues because that would have made Miskatonic University very difficult to investigate in that circumstance. Okay, let's move into the investigation phase. Yeah, so 3 actions onto Lily. Okay, so what do we do? Well, I think the first action, is to spend 2 and bring out the Holy Rosary, which gives us at least some horror soak, but actually it's actually physical that we really, really need. But we've got that out on the table, so that's nice. So we're now running at a 4, a 4-3, 4-3, so much better. That was our first action. What do we do now? So actually, I've just realized if we go to St. Mary's Hospital, you're probably all screaming at me right now. And I've just realized if we go to St. Mary's Hospital, doink, we can heal 3 damage. Yes. Just remembered we committed this. So you can only do that once each time. But we can do things like move. It's not like Frozen in Fear, which is good. So, final action. We will heal 3 damage. That gets us down to 2. So that was good. That's much better now. We're because we were looking like we might die. Okay, so that was kind of a nothing round, really. We started at Miskatonic. We brought out the Holy Rosary. We moved down to St. Mary's Hospital. We healed 3 damage. So yeah. So next time, I think we can spend these clues and bring out another cultist. So let's go into the enemy phase. No enemy to speak of. So we move into upkeep. We get another enchanted blade. Well, we don't need 2 of them. Although I suppose when one runs out, we can put the other down. We could bring them out and dual wield enchanted blades, of course, because that would be 2 hand slots. And oh no, we couldn't. You're right. No, you're right. You're right there, watchers, listeners. We couldn't do that because we don't have enough arcane slots, so we couldn't bring it out. We couldn't dual wield them unless our shriveling was gone. So yes, let's go into the Mythos phase. There is now 4 doom down. Let's see what the encounter deck has. The encounter deck has another obscuring fog. So +2. So this is now a shroud of 4 here. Okay. There we go. So yeah. So how are we going? How's old Lily going? She's going okay. We started off pretty fast bringing out Herman Collins, but we've sort of slowed down a little bit because we've, things are not going so fast. The Masked Hunter will be out soon, and we've just got to be aware of that, but I think we're ready. I just think now I think we've just got to make sure that we've got some more cultists out and things like that. So just on that note, there's the 3 actions onto Lily. First action, let's bring out another cultist. Let's spend our 2 clues. Yeah. Let's shuffle up the cultist deck. Let's see who we get. And we get Wolfman Drew. Okay, Wolfman Drew. Yeah, he's a good one for us because, we've got lots of ways of attacking. But again, I don't want to be using up my fight stuff before we've dealt with the